Welcome to Inside Innovation, presented by BioNTX. This series spotlights the people, ideas, and collaborations that power the life sciences and biotechnology ecosystem in North Texas and beyond. Today's conversation focuses on Alloy Futures, Biotech Startup Academy, an initiative helping bridge academic discovery and entrepreneurial execution. Alloy Therapeutics has long championed access, collaboration, and shared scientific advancement. And the Biotech Startup Academy is a powerful example of how these values translate into action. Today, we're joined with Dr. Natalie Lundsteen, Director of Operations for Alloy Therapeutics in Dallas, an experienced educator, workforce strategist, and advocate for building pathways that prepare emerging scientists to lead in both research and business. So help me welcome Dr. Natalie Lundsteen. Doctor, it's so glad to have you on the show today.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you for making time to be here, and we are so excited. I see you buzzing around biolabs every day, working, and we got you to sit still for a couple of minutes to share with us what you're working on. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me here.
So we'll jump right in. The first segment will be about context and vision. Okay. But before we dive into the specifics of the Academy, I just want to tell our audience I had a chance to go to your opening dinner to meet these young, aspiring scientists and minds who are going to change the world. The dinner was wonderfully done at Pegasus Park. And it's inspiring to see you in action and the work that you do. So I just want to openly say thank you for that on behalf of the ecosystem, on behalf of the young people who are part of this cohort. Thank you for that, and thank you for the great dinner.
Thank you. Thank
Awesome.
you for coming.
Yes. So I want to start with the why.
Okay.
Alloy's culture has always emphasized shared infrastructure and collaborative science, which leads me, Natalie, to my first question. Can you describe the origins of the Alloy Futures Biotech Startup Academy and how it fits into Alloy's broader vision for democratizing access to biotechnology?
Yes. So before I talk about the Academy, let me tell you just a little bit about Alloy Therapeutics.
Yes, please.
So it is a Boston-based, Waltham, Massachusetts, biotech startup company founded in 2017. Our CEO is Eric Anderson.
Mm-hmm. Great name, great first name.
And he's founded a lot of companies. And for years, Alloy has been changing the way drugs get to market. Mm-hmm. So we don't create a drug. We don't manufacture a drug. We have drug discovery platform services, lots of modalities, and partnerships and support have always been integral to the values and mission of Alloy. There are global teams, high-velocity antibody discovery, Athens, Georgia. There's transgenic platform development in Cambridge, UK, computational biology in Switzerland, and cell therapies platform development and services just launched in Japan. So now we're in Dallas.
Yes. And we're so glad to have you.
So in addition to the drug discovery and platform services, Alloy has a venture studio. It's called 82VS. And 82 is the elemental number for lead.
Yes.
Get it? Alloy VS Venture Studio. And it was launched in the Waltham HQ, but the second location for 82VS is here in Dallas. And that happened this past summer. Why did 82VS decide, of all the places in the world to come, that it should be Dallas? Because this is the fastest growing life science ecosystem, definitely in the United States. I don't know, maybe the world.
Hey, we'll take what we can get.
I know. So,
we'll take what we can get. Yes.
82VS is here. And the initial conception of the Biotech Startup Academy, I know, envisioned that there would be a cohort of startup founders ready to pipeline into our venture studio.
Yes.
So, but remember, these are people that are in Boston, which is robust and has decades and decades of infrastructure and scaffolding behind it. So 2 years ago at the North Texas IC3 Summit, Eric Anderson, our CEO, had a fireside chat with Lyda Hill. I wasn't at that conference, but this is my understanding of what happened, and talked about what's really needed here in North Texas to help develop innovation. So the idea of this Startup Academy shifted somewhat. Now, of course, our hope is that companies will start, that Alloy can support them. But more broadly, the Biotech Startup Academy now, which is called Alloy Futures. We call it Alloy Futures or the BSA, just so you know if I swap between mentioning those.
Yes.
It's more of a top of funnel, so a big funnel. Anyone in North Texas, you could be a founder, but maybe you are a faculty member or a postdoc or a scientist or a business person connected to the life science ecosystem. You want to know more about being entrepreneurial, or maybe you are entrepreneurial. You're already working with your university, maybe just any reason that you might want to learn more about life science. So that is the current sort of premise of what we want the cohort of the Startup Academy to be.
Yes.
So we did launch our first cohort in October 1st. We are now in week 6 of 7. It's a 7-week program, primarily hybrid, with some in-person beginning, middle, end days here in BioLabs Dallas. So we are about to finish the inaugural cohort. And
my time flies, doesn't it?
I know.
Doesn't it? Wow.
And the curriculum really is focused on building networks and connections and professional development as well as knowledge. It's designed to help scientists, clinicians, executives, investors, any ecosystem enabler learn more, build their understanding, understand the real journey of commercializing biotech innovation. So that is the background of trying to provide something for our life science community. And it will, and we can talk about this in a little bit, it will evolve and change as this ecosystem evolves and changes. But right now, Alloy wants to be part of building up and growing North Texas bioscience.
Well, thank you for that. That's a lot to unpack, so I'm not going to go through all of it, but I just want to highlight a couple of things. Thank you for your attention to our market. You could have gone anywhere in the world, as you've stated, but you chose to come to Dallas for reasons that you've articulated. Thank you for highlighting the connectivity at IC3, having your CEO do the fireside chat. That's the reason we do it. It's a convening opportunity to have a diversity of minds, to have leaders from a variety of sectors talk about possibilities. So this opportunity being partly a result of that fireside chat brings us great confidence as we continue to grow as an ecosystem. So let me transition, Natalie, to the second question in this section. From your perspective, and you touched on it briefly, what gap does this program fill for emerging scientists or founders? And I just want you to crystallize that point, who are trying to navigate the early stages of launching a biotech company. If you can just put a pin in that for our audience, that'd be great.
Okay. So like I said, the Academy launched in October. I actually came on board with Alloy in May. So it was pretty fast turnaround.
Seems like I've known you for years.
Well, I have been around here. I have been hanging around the ecosystem for a little bit, but on the academic side, right, not on the industry side. So it's been really fun to make that shift. Yeah. But the Academy, so we didn't have a lot of time to advertise, but it was amazing. The bit of marketing and reaching out that we did do resulted in an incredible oversubscription of applicants for the 20 spaces in the inaugural cohort.
Yes.
Now, keeping in mind, we're going to run this academy every fall and every spring. Obviously, we're going to evolve and grow as we go. But for the very first one, in the short window of time that we had to let people know that it was coming and get it launched between May when I started and October when we had that kickoff dinner and got things going, we had so many applicants, and
we've got a responsive network. And,
exactly.
And it's part of that energy. I talk about the kinetic component of our ecosystem, that it is moving, it is in motion, and that represents that. Our ecosystem, those postdocs, those PhDs are responsive.
Yes.
And they're eager and they're hungry.
And it's not just, I mean, the cohort is, there are some postdocs, there are a few grad students, but there are scientists that work in startups.
Yes, yes.
There are faculty from institutions far and wide, north and south, east and west, and they have ideas of their own, but also want to support their undergraduate and graduate students. We have a venture capitalist who would like to learn more about life science investing and really dig into the world of startups. Yes. We have executives who are PhD scientists who've been working for years in medical communications, other areas. And of course, we have a few founders, some more advanced than others. But all all wanting to learn what they can that's individual to them. So like I said, we're going to meet these 20 where they are. We're going to provide information. For some, it might be basic, but what I found so far is everything that we've presented in the curriculum has been incredibly well received.
Yes.
Because those who might already know it or are more advanced as a founder are then able to give their story and talk about, this is how I talked to a founder. These are the kind of funder. This is how I did my CPRIT grant or my SBIR
Which is
grant.
what you want it to do. It's the sharing of ideas.
Yes.
It's not someone lecturing, but it's the environment, it's the setting taking a life of its own, which is hopefully progressive and informative for all who attend.
Yes, and an important thing about our curriculum is we're not an accelerator, we're not an incubator, we're not a venture studio, right? We're an education program right now designed to get people going, right? I said we'll meet them where they are, but we also, our education building, top of funnel. And while there are instructor-led sessions, and that's an important part of the curriculum, the experts who are going to be teaching you, and then that expert, right, for the future.
Yes.
But also lots and lots of panels, of fireside chats, of interactive activities, of case studies, working together to create a pitch, working in the group. So, that's important. And then one aspect that I'm especially proud of is the personal, professional, and career development for anyone who wants it in the cohort. And they've all taken me up on it. What are their next steps? What do they want to do with this academy and the knowledge that they're going to gain, but also, right, just going forward.
This is exciting. I tell you, Natalie, for this just being the first, I cannot wait for the second and the next and the next and the next and the next, because we're cultivating our own. We're cultivating and creating environments of success. We're convening spaces for people to learn and grow off of each other in an academic setting, but really also a real world setting as well.
Yes,
the building
tangible.
Tangible, the building of your networks, to having the confidence to do your sales pitch, having the confidence to step in a room and share your idea with others is powerful, and it will serve these attendees and these participants very well for not only the short term, but the longer term for our ecosystem as well. So very exciting.
And they'll be alums. And see, that's the thing. They get to keep going and going, and we'll just have this incredible, And then
they'll tell two friends, and they'll tell two friends. And then we'll have them on the podcast.
Yes. Oh, for sure. Well, and, that's the thing. We say if one company a year might come to our venture studio or be created, that would be a win for us.
Yeah.
But that's not the main impetus. It's just helping North Texas grow. I mean, our motto, I wish I had one of our Alloy coffee mugs here, because it says, may the best drug win.
Yeah.
It doesn't say may our drug from Alloy win.
Yeah.
It's just make the best medicine, make humanity better, right? So that's, on some level, what's happening here in North Texas.
Thank you for sharing that. One of the things on our podcast is, this is Inside Innovation, and one of the through lines is that selfless approach to what we're doing. And I have a chance to entertain people nationally. We've got groups coming in internationally, and they always say there's something special about what's going on in the ecosystem. And part of that is the through line that you mentioned. It's that selfless. It's not about us winning. And yes, we'd love to get points on the board, but it's really about the ecosystem winning.
It's camaraderie. It's more than just collaboration. It is really like linking arms, like we are all here together through the ups and downs. And to see it happening in this academy has been not shocking to me, because I know this, but it takes my breath away sometimes. That like, wow, this is really working. This is really what we needed.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So let us transition, Natalie, to the next segment, experience and impact. So when you think about individuals, and we've talked a little bit about some of the individuals and the teams who are participating, there's often a powerful mix of scientific curiosity and entrepreneurial learnings that happen. We've kind of touched on that a little bit. Magical things happen when you get good people in a room. What are some of the most meaningful outcomes you've seen thus far from participants, whether in mindset, in skills, or ventures that have emerged from the academy experience?
Yeah, there's just so many. First of all, this cohort, I was just, before coming into this podcast, having a meeting with someone who's going to teach a session tomorrow night, and letting them know, don't worry, they're going to ask questions.
Yes.
Like they are like sponges, and they're open to all the learning they can and all the connections they can. So I guess they come into it with that curious, mindset. But like I said, our curriculum has been intentionally built to not just be Socratic, delivering information, but also interactive, flipped classroom. And what was unique about it is that our first week, we started with the cohort with some lessons on your individual purpose, your goals, your mission, and then building on that to say, like, if you were going to create a company, right, your own personality will be so important. And that mission and purpose of your company then extends to the rest of your team.
Yes.
Our CEO, Eric, came in during the first week and talked to the group about building Alloy, the mission and purpose of Alloy. So that, again, it's like Legos, like fitting together. So that's been cool. We also talked about, we used a tool, which I love, called Working Genius. And it's about figuring out your style and your natural strengths, right, working in work environments. And the cohort has used that to talk about building their teams. Like they might say, you have these working genius strengths. I have different ones, so we should work together. But if we had the same ones, we should probably not start a company together because we're too similar. And we talked to them about creating their leadership team and knowing themselves and knowing, are you the best candidate to be CEO or should you be COO? Do you even understand what a COO does in a startup, right? CSO, and how the roles might morph and change and evolve over time. But understanding, like, what should your mission be? Knowing things before they need to know it, I think. But Working Genius has come up multiple times. They're referencing back to things that were learned in the first week, even last week in week 5. We've also brought in speakers and experts who aren't necessarily from science. We've brought in people, a local founder, the founder of Cake Bar here in Dallas, right, to talk about being a community entrepreneur.
Did they bring samples?
Oh, she did. She brought like 70 pieces of cake. It was. I'm sorry you missed it. It was such a good day. But we've also had virtually some speakers from sports organizations to talk about building a winning team. We've had life science recruiters talking about what they do, the different services, mission to market. So everything that we've brought in, speakers that we've brought in without being prompted, have mentioned some of the tools and the exercises that we did in week 1 and 2, and it sort of just seems to be building on itself without any kind of master plan. So it's just worked out really, really well. And I would say really meaningful to me is not just the individual growth that some of the participants are doing, but also the fact that more than a few of them, because I said we have a few founders, some more advanced in their startup journey than others, but some of the ones that are still just getting some traction are finding people in the cohort who are going to probably join them. And then we have others in the cohort who are working for startups, but really they hadn't founded. They just came in to work as scientists. And their eyes are just wide open now to understand, the bigger context, the understanding of what their board is and what their founder might have gone through and some of the pressures, right? And they're like, we didn't mean to be selfish. We were working on our bench and we didn't understand the bigger picture. And they're like, now we can contribute and help so much more. So those are the kind of really meaningful outcomes I've seen so far. But like I said, we're going to have all these alumni and it's going to be amazing.
That's beautiful. It was funny. You talk about the organic nature of it and bringing the diversity of experiences that are not agnostic to a particular industry to help share those perspectives. And one of the things I always talk about, regardless of your entity, whether it's technology, science, or whatever it may be, there's always people involved. And if you understand the dynamic of interacting with people, relationships, the synthesizing of knowledge, the transfer, the ability for experiences to transfer in a variety of sectors, and the open-mindedness of it. One of the things I worked in advertising to start my career, my science is the science of the mind and human interaction. And one of the core values of one of my agencies I worked at in Austin was curiosity. And I said, wait a minute, curiosity is a core value? But what curiosity does, it allows you the intellectual and mental flexibility to absorb things. Right, and not be rigid. And you talked about the organic nature. I was watching a documentary on the Congo, which is one of the most prolific rainforests in the world. And the Congo, only about 8% of it has been discovered, which means a vast percentage of it has never experienced it. but it wasn't built on a grid. It was built based on diversity. It was built based on an organic,
wild natural
wild
patterns
natural
that we can't.
That is something beautiful to behold, and something that's been that way for thousands of years. And so, the ecosystem that I think you're building and contributing to will be equally as vital.
Right. We're not forcing them into rows to cultivate in a certain way. They're just growing, but it's really beautiful.
And as an educator, that's got to be rewarding.
Oh, for sure, because we want to teach. But I understand how learning happens. And so it's very exciting to see that it really is.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
So, which leads me to my next question.
Yeah.
How does Alloy Dallas, and we touched on it a tiny bit in the beginning, how does Alloy's Dallas presence contribute to this ecosystem, and what makes North Texas such a strong location to incubate these kinds of programs? Again, we've touched on it in bits and pieces, but if you could put a pin in that for our audience, that'd be great.
And I've been thinking a lot about this. North Texas right now is in itself an innovative location. And when I arrived to Dallas in 2014, sat over at UT Southwestern, wishing so much that there were companies that students could go to intern, to learn, to have more mentors. And there were wonderful alumni from UT Southwestern on the coasts, and students might, have to go do a strategic postdoc on the coast.
We still have love for the coast.
We love the coast, but it's so nice to be able to have people right here.
Yes.
So relationships can be built easier if you can occasionally, in person, meet that mentor or informal, informational chat person at a Bio North Texas event, at a BioLabs mixer. So being in our location and having it be growing is, again, a fundamental part of why the Startup Academy is here. And I mean, when you think about just the fact that it's so much cheaper to start up a company here, right? Like cost savings. So we have in our cohort.
That's my economic development pitch,
sure.
by the way.
Well,
It's so much cheaper, it's affordable.
We have a founder from San Diego and a founder from New York who have come to be part of this academy. So because they would like to start their companies here, not on the coasts. And they're just blown away at how much cheaper it is to do everything here. And I don't know exactly how to say this, but I know DFW Airport, it's a great hub, and there's some kind of cold storage,
centrally
and
located,
there's just
all of that.
All the resources we need are coming here, and so we're helping build that. The foundation is already there. I think we're on the next level of the foundation. We've built the basement. We're onto the first and second floors, and that's it. And just helping provide yet another resource that. There wasn't anything quite like the Startup Academy, but like I said, after a year or two, our work may be done in a certain way, and the Academy may transition to become, COO school, or maybe something different. But we're going to adapt and change to whatever the ecosystem might need.
As one of my idols say, Bruce Lee, be like water.
Okay, yes,
right?
we will flow.
We will flow. We will flow. So this takes me to our next section, our final section here. And again, we've touched on it briefly. Personal insight and the future outlook. And I must say, before we go on, whatever you're teaching, I want to learn it, because your passion as an educator is contagious. We spend a lot of time in the hallways here, so whenever I have a chance to spend even a minute with you, I am wonderfully fulfilled for that minute.
I love to chat too.
For that minute. So, but it's good stuff. So you bring a rich background in higher education, workforce development, and innovation ecosystems. And so the question that this leads me to is, what is it about your role or the mission of Alloy Futures that excites you the most in this moment in time? And how does that align with your own journey and the way you see impact being created with the work that you're currently doing?
I think we're never as happy as humans as when we're doing something we love and something that we're good at. And this role allows me to do that, because the thing I think I love most, and the thread that runs through my career, is helping individuals learn and grow and create the trajectory that they want. And innovation education is something that I have sort of come to slowly. I've been working with scientists. I've been advising students and postdocs and alumni in universities for years. It became STEM focused and then biomedical focused, and I've just really, really enjoyed that. But this gives me a new horizon, a new frontier. It's funny because, like many people, I say I love a challenge, and this is,
Yes.
a big, big challenge. But I am loving it. So my own journey, though, I will say the main catalyst that really cemented my decision to return back and start working with scientists in Dallas, and what made me notice this role and this opportunity was that I had a Fulbright Award and went to Tunisia, North Africa, in a year ago. It was the end of September 2024, and worked with a biotech university there and helped the students and faculty just very, very basics on innovation and entrepreneurship. This is a country that doesn't have a lot of startups, but wants to grow in a region, right, where the U.S. also wants to do some investment. And I just see potential there in that part of the world. But I also want to do it in the place where I live, where my home is, where my family is, and be able to do this kind of work every day. So that experience, that was part of my journey, because again, I love travel and adventure and a new challenge. And I left Tunisia. It was October 1st. And funnily enough, then October 1st, a year later, was the kickoff of this program. But I left Tunisia October 1st, 2024, thinking I have to get back to working with scientists in some innovative entrepreneurship way. And then a year later, to the day, to be at our kickoff dinner for Alloy Futures and be like, this is exactly where I belong. Now, other jobs I've had, I have said this is exactly where I belong, and then things evolve and change. But for right here, right now, I think this is a good place for me to use my strengths and my gifts and my energy as much as I have it as I'm getting older. And I'm just looking forward to what may come.
So, love it, right? I love it. And I'm going to tell our producer, we don't need these lights in here because you light up the room with the passion that you have. One of the things I talk about consistently on this show is I get the joy of interacting and speaking with individuals who are living within their purpose. And as a professional, there's nothing more rewarding for me to be in this space to share that. But I'd be remiss if I didn't highlight the fact, as everyone knows, I'm a jazz enthusiast. And so you were inspired by being in Tunisia, which also inspired Art Blakey and Lee Morgan and other jazz musicians to create a jazz standard, A Night in Tunisia. So for all of my listeners, go listen to some Lee Morgan, go listen to some Art Blakey, Night in Tunisia. It's a wonderful song. So I just had to have that jazz plug in there for everybody.
We should be playing it in the background.
We'll play it in the background. Well, we got to get the rights. I need to talk to the producer. We got to get the rights. He's slapping my hand. So this leads me to our last question. Natalie, looking ahead, how do you envision Alloy Futures growing or adapting to meet the evolving needs of biotech startups and early stage innovators? And I use the term evolving needs specifically because I knew you would talk a lot about how the organization is inherently athletic and agile relative to what you're doing in this space. So tell us a little bit about how you see the future.
So I've said
Pun intended.
Yes, the future. So like I've said, this academy will develop and change. It would be silly to keep it exactly the same as it is. And I mean, even this first cohort, right, we're already seeing ways to improve and grow. And the group may be different in the spring. And we will adapt to what they need. But we also need the community to come and be part of the cohort, tell us what they need, and then we can respond to that. I welcome community input to help us grow and change. Applicants.
Hopefully this podcast will help you in that regard.
So
community,
you heard it
community.
Yeah.
It's a clarion call to the community.
Okay. All right. And I guess I'll go back to Alloy's focus and mission, which is develop and discover and find solutions.
Yes.
And that's what we will continue to do. So I don't know what the next few cohorts will look like. I know they'll be different, but at fundamental base, it will be about helping North Texas life science grow and develop, and we'll respond to that.
Dr. Lundsteen, thank you.
You are so welcome. Thank you.
This has been awesome. Again, Dr. Lundsteen, thank you for sharing your insights and for helping us understand how Alloy Therapeutics and the Biotech Startup Academy are shaping the next generation of scientific founders. If you're a member, sponsor, or supporter of Bio North Texas, We deeply value your contributions to this thriving ecosystem. And as you can tell from this interview, we are thriving, and there's a lot of great things happening both here in North Texas, but we've got the attention of not only the nation, we've got the international attention as well. So we're very excited. If you're interested in membership, sponsorship, or supporting the life sciences community here, please scan the QR code on the screen to learn more. And as we always say, until next time, be well.